guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to download Drupal and install it locally using MAMP on OS 10. First thing we're going to want to do is go over to Drupal.org, and from there you'll see a couple of different tabs. You can either click on it here or here where it says Get Started with Drupal. Then from that page it takes you into a list of download, extend Drupal, documentation, and get support. First thing we're going to do is click on the download, and then of course it takes us to another page which is where we can actually download the different versions of it. What I will recommend right now is to download the recommended releases. You can go older version 6.30 or the latest version of 7.26. Of course, they're working on Drupal 8 right now, but for this video, we're going to go ahead and just do Drupal 7.6. So, depending on your preference, you can either use the GZ file or zip file. Both will do the same. If you're on a Mac, it's you just double-click it once you download it. Either one will extract it. So, I'm just going to go ahead and click on the zip file and start the download process. And you'll notice that it really doesn't take that long to download Drupal. It's very light. So from there, obviously this is going to end up in my downloads folder. So I'm going to go ahead and do Show in Finder. And you'll see Drupal is now in my downloads folder. First thing you want to do with that is go ahead and double click on it and extract the elements that are inside of that zip file. And when I'm working off of a Mac with OS 10 software on it, so it's pretty easy to just double click. I think if you're on a PC, you're going to want to right click and extract the elements. But nonetheless, what's going to happen is that once you extract the files, you're going to get a folder here that just says Drupal 7.6. Inside of that folder are all the miscellaneous files that are the inner workings of Drupal itself. I'm not going to go into details as to what everything is in this video. However, stay tuned. There will be more videos that'll just explain the ins and outs of these folders and files that are inside of here. But basically, this is just a demo to make it a little easier for the beginner to understand what Drupal is. Now, if you're watching this video, I'm going to assume that you are currently running a web server on your Mac. If you're running Windows, that's okay too. We will get to that in some other videos, but in this case, what I'm going to show you is setting up Drupal using MAMP. And if you don't know what MAMP is MyApache, MySQL, and PHP all put together on your machine, so it allows you to run a web server locally. You can download MAMP for free. It's available at www.mamp.info/en, and it's real easy to set up. You just click the download link, just run the install package, and it really literally sets up in minutes. It's a super easy install. If you didn't want to use MAMP to set up your local web server, you could always head on over to Acquia and use the Acquia Dev Desktop, which from what I understand is really cool. I haven't used it yet, but I've seen it in use at some of the Drupal meetups that I go to, and it looks fantastic. But for the demo, I've already got MAMP installed on my machine, so let's go ahead and get started and get that Drupal install ready to go using MAMP. Okay, let's get started. Let's head on back over to our downloads folder. Let's find that Drupal 7.26 extracted folder, and let's go ahead and open it up. And from there, I'm going to go ahead and grab those files. I'm using Pathfinder, so I'm going to drop them in my drop stack here just to hold on to them for a minute. I'm going to navigate over to my MAMP folder. And basically what this is that you'll see where it's located. It's under my applications folder under MAMP. And inside of that MAMP folder, if you just go into the htdocs folder, and you can create new folders inside of here, which these elements inside of this folder here becomes your new website. So I'm going to go ahead and go inside of that new website. and then I'm going to drag the files over. And so now basically what I've done is I've gone from my downloads folder, I've moved the files out of the 726 folder into my MAMP htdocs, and then I've created a new folder inside of there called new site, and I've placed all of the Drupal elements inside of that new site folder. Okay, now the fun begins. First thing we're going to do, now that we've got our htdocs new site Drupal files all sent into there, we're going to open up MAMP, and I bought the paid version of MAMP, so I've got MAMP Pro, but just regular free version MAMP works the same. So what happens is you open up MAMP and you'll see the dashboard, and first thing you're going to want to do is click on the Start button. And what that does is that it's going to go ahead and run Apache. It's going to start MySQL and just get everything up and running. So now your machine can run as a web server. And to make sure everything's working, you can click on this Web Start button here. And what that's going to do is it's going to open up the start page. And if this screen shows up, that means MAMP is up and running, and you should be good to go. So next step is to now navigate to your site. So again, I'm going to go back to the Finder here, and I'm going to show you where we have our htdocs, and we've got this folder called New Site. So I head back to my web browser, and I'm going to clear out everything except for the first part, which is localhost 8888 and the /. We're going to type in new site. And voila, we got the start of our installation profile for Drupal. So now we're getting somewhere. Okay, now that we're at the install screen, let's go ahead and start. I'm going to go ahead and start with a standard install just to make it real easy. So it'll install the most commonly used features and modules. Click Save and Continue. Then it's going to ask me to choose a language. I'll select English, save and continue. And then the next screen comes up, and it's going to ask us a few more details about the site. I'm going to use MySQL for the database, and now it's looking for a database name. Well, we know we haven't really set up a database yet, but don't worry, it's real easy. What we're going to do is we're going to go back to the MAMP screen, and let's click on the Web Start, and then go to phpMyAdmin. And this will allow us to actually set up a database to connect to our Drupal site. So to set up a new database to link to the new site, you click on Databases, create a database, and I will call this one New Site, and click on Create. And now what it's done is it's actually created a empty database for me. And that's perfect. That's just what we need. So now we're going to go back to our database configuration. Let's type in the name of the database that we just created. And down here, what it's asking for is the username and the password of the phpMyAdmin database. Don't worry, that's supplied to you when you install the MAMP server. So when you install that, you'll have all that information available to you, and that's what you're going to be typing in here. So now that we've got all this entered, the advanced options we don't need to worry about. It's just looking for a database host, support, and most of the time you don't even need to mess with that. So we just click on Save and Continue. And from there, what's going to happen is it's actually going to start initializing and installing Drupal on your local web server. So basically it's going through and it's creating the database and it's installing the modules and it's building the site. So you'll have that basic setup once this finishes here. Almost done, and then it's going to finish out with one more screen. Okay, so now we are good, and it's going to ask us for a few more things. It's looking for a site name. So what are you going to call your website? We're going to go ahead and call this, let's just go ahead and call this Our New Site. Site email address. So basically, any registration information, notifications, and things of that nature are going to go to this email address. I will do just a bogus one here. support@newsite.com. And for the site maintenance account, basically you want to set up a maintainer of the site, someone who's going to be the admin. So I'm going to use, for username, admin. And let's go ahead and just do admin@newsite.com for the password. I'm sorry, for the email address, and then for the password, just, obviously make up a good strong password, and that way your admin account is always safe. And moving down, we have a default country settings. I'll go ahead and choose United States, and default time zone. So obviously wherever you're building your site for, what locations you want your default country and your default time zone set up, you can set that here. If you want to get update notifications, you can have these checkboxes checked on for getting updates notifications for updates. So if Drupal is being updated with a security update or whatever, you'll get an email notification, etc. These can be changed later on in the site. And from there, we're just going to go ahead and click Save and Continue. And so now it's going to apply those settings to the database. And voila, it tells us, congratulations, you have installed Drupal. Now what do? We go ahead and click on it and visit our new site. And what's going to happen is it's going to take us, as mentioned earlier, localhost /new site /open, and basically it takes us to our main page of our site. Now it doesn't look like a website because there's really nothing set up yet, and setting up the site will be in our next couple of videos, so stay tuned. But what you're seeing right now is our admin screen, and but congratulations, you've just set up your first site with Drupal, and thanks for watching.